Oh, hey there. I'm Matthew Wexler. You are watching Edge Media Network and Living Sober. We are your go-to source for LGBTQ plus news and entertainment. Living Sober is our six-part live conversation series in collaboration with Recovery Unplugged. We are talking with LGBTQ plus entertainers, athletes, influencers, and advocates about their lived experiences and how they are continuing to live each day sober and healthy. Today is all about community. And for many of us these days, community comes in the form of finally a return to real life experiences, but also social media. Today's guest has more than 600,000 followers on TikTok. He's danced his way around the globe, and he is also the face of some terrific brand partnerships. He continues to share his message of love, inclusion, and diversity. Of course, I am talking about none other than Corey O'Brien. We also have Zachary Elliott joining us from Recovery Unplugged today. He's going to share what makes this specific treatment center so successful and welcoming for the LGBTQ plus community, and also how their alumni are maintaining a sense of community to live and stay sober. Remember, we are live, so if you have questions for Corey, today is the day to ask them. Just drop them in the chat. So let's get this conversation started and welcome Corey to the show. Hey, Corey.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing great. I am doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited about this conversation because it's the intersection of so many things that I love and are interested, especially in terms of your creativity. I'm curious to hear just a little bit more about your early experience in dancing and performing and what your exposure was like, how you sort of came to love being in front of people in every and all forms.
I actually started as a gymnast, and then I found dance when I was about 11 or 12, and for me, being able to communicate through movement was something that I really enjoyed because as a kid, I didn't really know how to express my emotions or feelings with words. So to find something that I was able to do in a creative way to show who I was, how I was feeling, and also express myself. As a young gay man in Pennsylvania, I was so drawn to dance because I didn't really have many people I could relate to or have an outlet that I really felt like resonated with me. So with dance, that was like the end all be all for me.
Yeah. Did you have a mentor, I guess, specifically related to dance that sort of encouraged you to express your totality through movement?
I feel like I had a huge support system from my family,
Mhm.
and they were always pushing me to be creative and express myself and also follow my dreams. So I wouldn't say I had a mentor, but my family were the ones that were really supportive and loving and also saw something in me that at the time I really didn't see in myself.
Yeah, yeah. So cut to 2021 and sort of the world of social media.
Mhm.
How, I guess it's probably not one singular answer, but I'm interested in kind of connecting the dots, how you pivoted that talent to social media.
You know, I I've always enjoyed social media and like I said expressing myself in different forms and creativity. And
Mhm.
of course, during 2020 when everything was shut down, I just kind of started finding things that I enjoyed outside of performing. And then I realized that I could create my own road in this arts and in this performing and entertainment industry and kind of create my own lane. And with TikTok and with Instagram, I just kind of started expressing myself in different ways. I started opening up about my sobriety. I started um, kind of posting things that weren't so curated and weren't so perfect. And I just kind of found that I really enjoyed being authentic, being open and honest, and showing different sides of who I was besides just the dancer.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's the interesting part of the topic of today's conversation is community, and
Mhm.
that sort of evolves in so many different forms, social media being one of the ways to do that. And I think
Yeah.
your movement towards this authentic uh, representation is people want that so deeply.
Yeah.
You mentioned sobriety. You recently celebrated 9 years. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I'd love to know if you feel comfortable sharing what some of the circumstances were behind your decision to get sober, and what bit of that journey has been for you.
Yeah, I mean, I started using at a young age. For me, it was just a way to kind of fit in because I never fit in, whether it was with the boys or the girls. I just never had my place. And I felt like I was able to relate to people my age by drinking and partying. But for me, that just really took a life of its own, and it continued for years and years afterwards. I started working as a professional dancer, and I started losing everything that I worked so hard for because of my addiction. And truthfully, I didn't want to get sober. I wasn't the one that made the decision to go to rehab, but I kind of just hit my rock bottom, and I had no other chances and no other opportunity but to go to rehab. So I was planning on going, or I thought I was going for 30 days. I ended up being in rehab for a year, actually, and my whole entire life changed. I'm not saying that it was easy from then on out, but I just knew that if I went back to using, that I would lose everything. And I just didn't have that in me. I felt like I wasted so much time already, and I just really wanted to see what life was going to be like sober, and I just wanted to give myself a chance.
Yeah, yeah. When we think about it, it's we don't sort of live in this pocket. All these identities kind of intersect. Your life as a gay man, your life as an artist, your life as a sober person, and you've connected all of these dots through social, but through your artistry and your sobriety. I would love to share a project that you recently worked on, which is this gorgeous film. I'd love to share a look at this beautiful film that you created called Freedom.
Tasting alcohol for the first time was like tasting freedom. Do you remember your first love? It's like breathing for the first time, and you don't know how you lived without them. When they're not around, you're gasping and desperate for them to come back. I grew up thinking something was wrong with me. Why wasn't I happy, or why wasn't I enough? How could I question those things when everyone around me seemed to have all the answers? Sometimes we show the world a side of ourselves that we haven't even met yet, where pain and anger leads us down a road of no end. But being lost felt like home, and running from my issues became a daily ritual, and I chose the same place every time. Maybe I was blinded by the light, or flying too close to the sun. But with love comes heartbreak, and I was burning all along. And if love is like breathing, then heartbreak is the ocean. I had gone under. Your blood can run cold, but dreams never die. And those who hold you during the darkest of days are the ones who help show you that you are the light. Pain from your first love may be hard to forget, but your last love, your true love, is the one that matters. That safety and comfort I needed could only come from me. Loving yourself is freedom.
Oh my God. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Did you write the text as well?
I did. I wrote it. My boyfriend, Ryan Russell, helped me write it as well. And it was just all things that related to my story and my past. And it was so cool to kind of put all of that into a project and create art with it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you said at the beginning of our conversation, in terms of you first being drawn to dance, that that was a place that you, like maybe one of the early places that you found this form of expression. And I love that it's sort of come full circle, and that it is dance, but it is also words. You know, you found the literal voice of expression. It's so cool. Who directed it? We didn't see the credit at the end, but I just want to acknowledge your creative collaboration in the project.
Brandon Hudson, he
Mhm.
directed it. It was such an incredible team to work for. I mean, and work with. I have to say, out of everything that I've ever done, that is my favorite project ever. To kind of be in control and also tell a story that was completely reality at one point. It was such an honor, and I'm very grateful for my team.
Yeah, yeah. Well, perhaps there's more pieces to come in the future.
Of course.
You mentioned earlier that you were in rehab for a year. Could you share a little bit more about what your support system was like during that process, and why it was important for you to have not only be doing the work yourself, but also to have a community around you to sort of lift you as well?
Yeah, I mean, my family, they were always so supportive and understanding. I mean, I think they understood more about addiction before I ever did. And I was so thankful to have people that just believed in me, but also they gave me space in a way to find my own process of healing. They helped me find ways to give me support, but also to take a step back. Because for me, I knew I needed to do it on my own and for me, and to have my family there supporting me and loving me was everything I needed and more. But when we talk about community, I also feel like the people that I surrounded myself with in treatment was incredibly helpful in my recovery, because I surround myself with those that cared about getting better, but also cared about each other. And I know that a lot of treatment centers, there's different types of people. And so instead of getting sucked into this negativity of anger and sadness, I surrounded myself with those who wanted to change and wanted to get better. And I think that's very important to discuss, because going to treatment is just the first step. And then there's so much more that goes into it afterwards. So I just took the advice of others, and I just continued to do what I could to get better.
Yeah, which brings us to, you mentioned him in passing, and we're going to talk about him a little bit more. Part of your current support system, your boyfriend, who is also in the news sometimes, happens to be an NFL football player, Ryan Russell, a very handsome couple, just hanging out at the beach. What are some of your not so secret secrets to maintaining a successful relationship between the two of you?
Communication,
Mhm.
uh, being open and honest with each other, no matter how hard it is. And I I put my happiness and what I have to do, my health, I always and will forever put that first, because if I'm not healthy, if I'm not happy, then I can't be a good partner or good friend or good brother or good son to anyone. So anything that I do in my life is also a reflection of how I'm going to treat other people and how I'm going to be. And so I just stay open and honest, and communication always. That's so important. I think a lot of people just kind of pass right by that.
Yeah, together you're both in the public eye a lot, and I'm curious how you protect yourselves from cancel culture. Or, you know, we have to acknowledge social media is this wide open platform, and there
Mhm.
are some negative responses that creep up. How do you sort of respond and sort of manage that when it happens?
So I stay away normally from any and all comments, good or bad.
Mhm.
I don't really need to know anyone's opinion of me, especially bad opinions, because all that matters is kind of how I view myself and how others that are close to me view me. Um, and with cancel culture, to be completely honest, unpopular opinion maybe, but I'm not against cancel culture when it's meant for those who really shouldn't have a platform, or who are negative, or spreading information or hateful words. So for me, I don't actually like really try to dodge cancel culture. I just am not someone that would be canceled because I'm not sitting here bringing others down or saying hurtful things, or all I am is doing everything in my power to be authentic and loving and caring and spread positivity.
Yeah, yeah. Part of that is some funds for lighter stuff. You've done some brand partnerships and you're doing some
Mhm.
modeling. I'm curious, besides the business side of things, the entrepreneurial side of things, what you like about modeling sort of as this form of self-expression. It's fun. I've been following your Instagram account and I just,
Oh.
you did some really creepy Halloween photos. I didn't bring them into this episode, but if people check out, I'm encouraging people to check out your
Mhm.
Instagram feed for Halloween. Yeah, you enjoy being in front of the camera.
Yeah, I mean, I just honestly, I just enjoy creating. I just enjoy being artistic, and also just I have all these ideas in my head, and to be able to put it on paper or in a photo or in a video like you saw, that's just so exciting to me. I just think that I'm very honored and very lucky to be able to use my platform to share my own expressions of creativity and art. So I've just always enjoyed being kind of my own boss and creating things that I want to create.
Yeah, and we now live in a world where that's possible, right? I
Yeah,
mean, people really can be sort of entrepreneurs, and you can allow that creative spirit to continually generate. I would love for you to stick around for a little bit. We always have a question at the end of each of our Living Sober questions that I would love to throw at you to get
of
your
course.
thoughts on.
Of course. Thank you.
Great, great. Such a great guy. Edge has been collaborating, as I mentioned, with Recovery Unplugged for several years, actually, to highlight the importance of LGBTQ plus inclusivity and sensitivity regarding drug and alcohol treatment. Let's take a closer look at what Recovery Unplugged is all about.
Addiction is isolation. Recovery thrives with community. Recovery Unplugged Treatment Center has served nearly 4,500 clients, and in 2019, the Recovery Unplugged community celebrated an amazing 1 million days of combined recovery. Recovery Unplugged is a drug and alcohol treatment center that uses the power of music to break through to the underlying causes of addiction, with success rates over 4 times the national average. Support within the Recovery Unplugged community continues after treatment with weekly alumni meetings and year-round special events. With locations in Fort Lauderdale and Lake Worth, Florida, Northern Virginia, Austin, Texas, and our newly opened location in Nashville, Tennessee, Recovery Unplugged has a convenient location for you. Start your treatment today and visit us at recoveryunplugged.com.
Recovery Unplugged's work is truly life-saving, and it's not just those 30, 60, or 90 days. Sobriety really is a lifetime effort, which is why creating and maintaining a supportive community is so important. Zachary Elliott, Recovery Unplugged's Fort Lauderdale alumni coordinator, joins us to share more about his work and the sober community that he's helping to maintain.
Hello.
Hey, Zach. Hi, it's great to see you as well.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. So I, have been humbled and privileged to spend a lot of time with a lot of people at Recovery Unplugged, visiting your facilities in Fort Lauderdale and in Texas. But for those not familiar with Recovery Unplugged, what makes it different from other treatment centers around the country?
With what the topic was today in community and everything, I think the musical aspect of our treatment really brings people together. Music creates unity and everything. We're a very friendly environment. We're very accepting, very diverse. The staff is very caring, very loving, nurturing.
Yeah, music is really an integral part of the treatment process, from what I understand, really from the moment that somebody enters the facility, they get an MP3 player with some of their favorite music.
from the moment they arrive, even if we are picking them up from the airport, we will drive back with them, listening to their favorite song, giving them some ease with that. They get the MP3 player upon arrival. Music is playing throughout property at all times.
Yeah. And have you sort of seen firsthand how that de-escalates perhaps somebody who's maybe in a super stressed out or challenging frame of mind?
Oh, of course. Music really does help greatly in those situations. A lot of times, if you just sit with a patient client who is struggling, listening to the music that they want to listen to, it calms and soothes them, and it allows for the healing process to continue.
Yeah. So sort of intersecting with that is Recovery Unplug's commitment to LGBTQ plus inclusivity. I'm curious from your own experience in your own recovery, how important it was to have an LGBTQ plus affirming environment.
I can't stress this enough. It was so incredibly important to find that community. Like the video showed, I had no community prior to entering recovery. So let alone like finding a group of like-minded individuals just in the general recovery aspect, working towards the same goal, finding like the inner group of the LGBTQ plus community where I had more comfort, at the time, more issues in common, or, more situations that I could relate to. And seeing people grow in that area and allowing me to grow with them.
Yeah, we've discovered in our reporting over the years, and I encourage people who are interested in learning more, we have a whole special series of articles that we've created in collaboration with Recovery Unplugged called How Music Medicine Heals, where we're specifically talking about issues that relate and are pertinent to the queer community. A lot of them are trauma-based. A lot of them are really specific to personal experiences that people had that are sort of in tandem with their addiction. I'm curious in terms of your work, if you could share a little bit more about what an alumni coordinator does. What sort of projects and events are you working on?
Projects and events. I mean, we do hold an alumni meeting weekly. It's outside at a wonderful park. We have events monthly. All alumni are always invited. Really, the alumni process does start the minute that you are admitted. We are with them along the whole journey of the treatment process, and then even after they leave treatment, to offer support, direct them in a direction. A lot of times we have LGBTQ plus clients who are not from this area, which has a large community. Sometimes they go to smaller towns. So one of the benefits of COVID, one of the benefits was the use of Zoom meetings. So there was a way to be more involved in your community should you live in a rural area where there might not be a strong presence of LGBTQ plus. Yeah,
I think even using the word alumni is interesting because it really, as Corey expressed as well, is a lifelong journey. It's almost like just another chapter perhaps starting that's seen through a different lens. Why is it critical, do you think, for people to really have that long-term support system, I guess, both personally for you and also what you've seen in working with clients?
For myself, if I could not do this alone, I tried to do so many things alone before, and it ended me up in countless treatment centers. This time, it was very important for me to not rely on myself, learning that I cannot do this on my own, that I needed this community for support, for guidance, and also to give back to newer people in the community. What was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm just curious, maybe perhaps some of the ways that you've seen clients and alumni rely and engage with communities to maintain. I was thinking specifically, we did a great interview a couple years ago with a young guy who really liked going to nightclubs and going dancing, but that can certainly be a triggering place when there's a lot of alcohol. So he was saying, it was great for him to have people that he could go out with, and they just sort of held each other accountable.
Yeah.
So are there other things like that, perhaps?
Yeah, no, I come across that situation with friends a lot where, that was a good part of their life prior to entering recovery. And that is something that is missed. So, of course, it is important not to miss out on things that you once loved, but also go into these situations with your support, because it is a slippery situation in early recovery, even later on. Like I've found that in the beginning, I had my friends outside of recovery, and started making more friends in sobriety. And as the time went on, not that I drifted away from my older friends, but the activities I would do with them were less appealing, and I wanted to be around like-minded, sober people. So the advice I offer it's just any situation you're going to put yourself in that might be like a gray area, it is always best to have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have people around. And I think, when someone is out of sort of those first 30 or 60 or 90 days, life continues. Challenges present themselves. Good things happen too. When people start dating, stuff comes up. When you get a job promotions, it's not always sort of these negative things that are hitting people, but even the positive stuff can, it's important to have a support system around too as well.
Of course, the positive things can be just as triggering. We're used to not many positive things happening in our using. So that the positive feelings are also, alarming and new. Feelings are new. So
yeah. I had a friend once say to me something very poignant, which was, as my life grows, my sobriety needs to grow with it. So all of those things sort of stack onto one another. I would love to bring Corey back for a few final thoughts. I wanted to ask both of you a couple questions. Hello, sir. It's good to see you again. I wanted to ask both of you, I don't know if this is true for you or not, but I want to pose the question if you feel, and Zach addressed it a little bit, if it's important for you to have a community that identifies both as LGBTQ and sober, and if so, why? I guess, Zach, you did sort of acknowledge that a little bit, but Corey, what about for you? Have you thought about how those two worlds are sort of connecting or not?
I'm not sure for me if it's important to have that, but I do think what is important is to have people that others can look up to and see are a part of the community and also sober, just so we have people that are able to show that it works and that it's possible, and to have people able to see what their life could be like.
Yes, it's so true. Each episode ends with a question that we'd love to ask our guests, and that is what you would say to someone struggling with addiction, or someone who knows someone who is struggling with drugs and alcohol. Zachary, what are your thoughts?
As someone who has had struggled for a very long time, if I was speaking to someone who had the addiction issue, it would be that I would let them know that there obviously is a way out, and how freeing it is to let go of that control and let others guide you through the early process of recovery.
Great, thank you. And Corey, what about you?
I would say to someone who is struggling that recovery is not only possible, but it is better than anything that you can imagine. And the fear of getting sober, the fear of change is understandable. However, it is so worth it. And I would say for those who are loving someone who is struggling, that staying strong and staying true to who they are and also caring for themselves is so important, because losing yourself in the addict is not going to help anyone.
Thank you. Thank you both for those kind words. And thank you for joining us for our final episode of Living Sober. It was great having your insights. I encourage our viewers to check out Recovery Unplugged and see the kind of work that they're doing. And Corey, I encourage everybody to check out all of your fun dance videos on TikTok and all the great content that you're creating on Instagram and beyond.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Can't believe it. It's our final episode of Living Sober. It has been an incredible experience for me speaking with people from all walks of life about their continued journey of sobriety. And the story does not end here. You can find these conversations on Edge Media Network, on our social media channels, as well as Recovery Unplugged. And we are also continuing to partner with Recovery Unplugged into 2022. So stay tuned for more stories of inspiration. Of course, you can always tune in to Edge Media Network for all the latest news and follow us on social media to see those breaking stories first. Until next time, live full, live proud, and live sober.